The Uber's doors clicked shut with a mechanical finality that echoed like a gunshot in the dead of night. I froze, my hand midway to the seatbelt as the driver, a burly man with a salt and pepper beard and eyes like chipped obsidian, leaned forward. His voice a gravelly whisper slicing through the stale air of the car. "Don't get out. Look behind us." My heart slammed against my ribs, a wild animal trapped in my chest. I twisted in the back seat, peering through the rain-smeared rear window into the inky blackness of the empty street. At first, nothing. Just the glow of distant street lamps flickering like dying stars. Then, headlights flared to life 2 blocks back, a pair of predatory eyes piercing the darkness. The car behind us revved, inching closer, and in that moment, the betrayal I'd been fleeing crashed back into me like a tidal wave. It was him. My husband, Mark, the man I'd trusted with my soul, tailing me like some deranged hunter. And worse, I knew why. So I gripped the door handle, knuckles white, fury igniting in my veins like gasoline on fire. The ride had started innocently enough, or as innocent as anything could be at 2 a.m. after shattering your life into irreparable pieces. I'd stormed out of our apartment, our home, once a sanctuary of whispered promises and shared dreams, after finding the messages on his phone. Not just flirty texts, but a digital trail of deceit that stretched back months. Photos, videos, confessions of love to her. My best friend, Lena. The woman who'd held my hand through miscarriages, job losses, and every raw vulnerability I'd ever exposed. The betrayal wasn't just a knife in the back. It was a slow twist, carving out my insides until I was hollow, humming with rage. I'd called the Uber from the curb outside our building, tears blurring the app's interface, my fingers trembling as I typed in my sister's address across town. Anywhere but there. The driver, whose name tag read Victor, had pulled up in a nondescript black sedan, the kind that blends into the city's nocturnal veins. I'd slid in, mumbling directions, my voice cracked like old porcelain. Now, as those headlights crept closer, Victor's eyes met mine in the rearview mirror, steady and unyielding. "You know that car?" he asked, his accent thick, Eastern European, maybe Russian, each word weighted with the caution of someone who'd seen too much. I nodded, my throat tight, humiliation burning like acid in my chest. How pathetic I must look. Disheveled hair, mascara-streaked cheeks, clutching my purse like a lifeline. "My husband," I whispered, the word tasting like poison. "He's following me." Victor's jaw tightened, a muscle twitching under his beard. He didn't ask why. Perhaps he didn't need to. The city streets at this hour were a confessional for the broken, and he'd probably heard worse. Instead, he floored the accelerator, the engine roaring to life as we surged forward. The pursuing lights hesitated, then matched our speed. My mind raced, denial crumbling under the weight of reality. This wasn't just paranoia. Mark was chasing me down, desperate to contain the fallout of his lies. We weaved through the labyrinth of downtown, rain pattering against the windows like insistent fingers. The neon signs of late-night bars blurred into streaks of red and blue, casting ethereal glows on Victor's face. He glanced back occasionally, his hands gripping the wheel with white-knuckled precision. "Why's he after you?" he finally asked, his tone neutral but probing, like a therapist coaxing out a confession. I hesitated, resentment bubbling up. Why should I spill my guts to a stranger? But the words tumbled out anyway, raw and unfiltered. He cheated. With my best friend. I found out tonight. Messages, pictures, everything. I confronted him and he laughed. Said I was overreacting, that it was just a fling. The lie stung anew. It wasn't a fling. It was a full-blown affair, complete with weekend getaways disguised as work trips, and shared secrets that mocked our marriage vows. Heartbreak clawed at me, a visceral ache that made my chest heave. How could Lena do this? We'd been inseparable since college, sisters in all but blood. Her betrayal felt like a death, leaving me grieving a friendship that was never real. Victor's eyes softened in the mirror, a flicker of empathy breaking through his stoic facade. "People are animals," he muttered, swerving around a pothole that jolted me in my seat. The leather upholstery creaked under my weight, cold and unforgiving against my skin. They take what they want, leave the mess for others. His words hung in the air, stirring something dark within me, resentment hardening into obsession. As the headlights behind us grew brighter, closing the gap, fantasies of justice flickered in my mind like a faulty film reel. What if I turned the tables? Confronted them both, exposed their ugliness to the world? But doubt crept in, slimy and insidious. Was I strong enough? Or would I crumble, begging for reconciliation like some pathetic cliché? The chase intensified as we hit the highway ramp, the city's skyline receding into a smear of lights. Rain hammered the roof now, a relentless drumbeat syncing with my pounding heart. Victor's phone buzzed on the dashboard, a text perhaps from dispatch, but he ignored it, focus laser-sharp. "Hold on," he said, voice low and urgent. He cut across lanes, tires squealing on wet asphalt, the scent of burning rubber infiltrating the cabin. Behind us, Mark's car, a sleek Audi I'd helped him pick out, swerved erratically, horn blaring like an accusation. Panic surged through me, mingling with fury. Why was he pursuing me? To apologize? To silence me? The thought ignited a cold resolve, a steel rod straightening my spine. No more denial. This wasn't just about heartbreak, it was war. We exited onto a quieter arterial road, flanked by shadowy warehouses and flickering sodium lamps. Victor slowed, checking the mirrors. He's still there. Persistent bastard. His dialogue felt natural, laced with a world-weary edge that made him seem more ally than stranger. I leaned forward, breath fogging the glass. "What do I do?" I asked, voice trembling despite my resolve. Guilt gnawed at me. Guilt for dragging this man into my chaos, for not seeing the signs sooner. How many late nights had I dismissed as overtime? How many times had Lena's hugs felt off, her smiles too forced? Inner conflict raged. Part of me wanted to forgive, to salvage the ruins, but the larger part screamed for vengeance, a burning need to make them suffer as I had. Victor paused at a red light, the intersection deserted save for a lone stray dog scavenging in the gutters. The pursuing lights pulled up 2 cars back, engine idling like a predator's growl. "You fight back," he said simply, his eyes locking onto mine. "But smart. Not like this." The light turned green, and he accelerated smoothly, putting distance between us. Subtle hints of my brewing plan emerged in my thoughts. Quiet, strategic. I'd document everything. Emails, bank statements showing those trips. Expose them online, ruin their reputations. But fear whispered warnings. What if it backfired? What if I became the villain? Moral conflict twisted like a knot in my gut. As we approached my sister's neighborhood, the streets narrowed into tree-lined avenues, houses glowing with warm porch lights that mocked my turmoil. Victor pulled over a block away, engine humming softly. "He's parked back there watching. You want me to wait?" His offer hung heavy, revealing a hidden motive. Perhaps he'd been betrayed too, his gruff exterior hiding scars. I shook my head, obsession fueling my steps. "No, but thank you." I slipped him an extra tip, our fingers brushing in a moment of unspoken solidarity. Stepping out, the rain soaked me instantly, cold droplets tracing paths down my neck like tears I refused to shed. I glanced back. Mark's car lurked in the shadows, a silent threat. So I walked away, but inside, the seeds of revenge took root, sprouting in the fertile soil of my rage. At my sister's door, I pounded until lights flickered on. Sarah opened it, her face etched with concern. "Emma, what happened?" I collapsed into her arms, the story spilling out in sobs and fragments. She listened, her hugs a balm, but as I spoke, resentment morphed into planning. Over herbal tea in her cozy kitchen, the scent of chamomile clashing with my bitterness, I mapped it out mentally. First, gather evidence. Then, strike where it hurt. Their careers, their social circles. Lena was a rising star in marketing. Mark, a finance exec. One anonymous tip to their bosses could unravel it all. Days blurred into a haze of quiet calculation. I crashed on Sarah's couch, the fabric rough against my skin, nights haunted by dreams of confrontation. In one, I screamed at them, faces contorted in shock. In another, I watched them beg for mercy. Doubt plagued me. Was revenge worth the stain on my soul? Guilt over potential collateral damage. Their families, mutual friends. But humiliation fueled me, a constant burn. I pored over old photos on my phone, each smile a lie, obsession growing like ivy choking a tree. A week later I met Lena for coffee, my invitation laced with feigned forgiveness. The cafe buzzed with morning chatter, the aroma of espresso grounding me. She arrived, flawless as ever, blonde hair cascading, eyes wide with feigned innocence. "Emma, I'm so sorry," she began, voice soft, manipulative. "It just happened." Rage simmered beneath my calm facade. "Tell me everything," I said, recorder hidden in my bag. Her confessions poured out, revealing depths of betrayal. It started at a conference, escalated to stolen moments in our home. Each word was ammunition, tension building like a storm cloud. Back at Sarah's, I transcribed it all, cold resolve settling in. Moral grayness loomed. Was I becoming like them, deceitful? But the pursuit called, undeniable. Foreshadowing whispered, this path might consume me. The plan crystallized in the dim glow of my laptop screen. Sarah's living room shrouded in midnight silence. I'd spent hours digging. Hacking wasn't my forte, but public records and social media were fair game. Mark's LinkedIn boasted promotions. Lena's Instagram flaunted vacations that now screamed affair. Obsession gripped me, a vice tightening with each click. I imagined their faces when it all crumbled. Shock, regret, the same humiliation I'd endured. But doubt lingered, a shadow in my mind. What if revenge left me emptier? Guilt over involving innocence, colleagues, friends, ate at me, yet resentment drowned it out. This wasn't just payback, it was reclamation. I started small, strategic. An anonymous email to Mark's boss, attaching screenshots of expense reports mismatched with work trips. The hotel bookings, the dinners for two, irrefutable. Sending it, my finger hovered over the button. Heart racing like that night in the Uber. Blick. No going back. Tension built slowly, days stretching like taut wires. Mark called incessantly, voicemails escalating from pleading to accusatory. "Emma, what have you done? We can fix this." His voice cracked, revealing cracks in his armor. I ignored them, cold resolve hardening my heart. Lena was next. I bumped into her at our old gym, the air thick with sweat and rubber mats. She approached warily, towel draped over her shoulders. "Can we talk?" she asked, eyes darting. I nodded, feigning vulnerability. Over smoothies in the lobby, the tartness biting my tongue, I probed. "Why me? Why him?" Her response dripped manipulation. "You were distant, Emma. He needed someone." Suppressed rage boiled, but I held it, recording discreetly. Later, that audio went to her agency's HR, flagged as ethical concerns with client overlaps, lies intertwined with truth. The fallout began subtly. Whispers reached me through mutual friends. Mark on probation, Lena sidelined from projects. Satisfaction bloomed, but so did inner conflict. Nights brought nightmares. Me as the monster, them as victims. Fear of exposure gnawed. What if they traced it back? Moral ambiguity blurred lines. My actions felt justified yet tainted. Victor reappeared unexpectedly, a text from an unknown number. "Saw your husband tailing someone else. Thought you should know." How did he get my number? From the Uber app, perhaps. Curiosity mixed with suspicion. We met at a dingy diner. Booths sticky with syrup residue. The clatter of dishes a chaotic symphony. "Why help me?" asked, sipping bitter coffee. He shrugged, eyes shadowed. "Lost my wife to betrayal. Revenge. It changes you." His words hinted at hidden motives. Empathy or something darker? Tension heightened. Was he ally or manipulator? Emboldened, I escalated. A viral post on an anonymous forum, detailing their affair with blurred photos. It spread like wildfire, comments piling up. Outrage, sympathy. Mark's calls turned desperate. Lena's furious. "You're destroying us," she screamed in a voicemail. Heartbreak resurfaced, layered with triumph. But obsession consumed. I stalked their profiles, watched likes dwindle, connections sever. The climax loomed at a mutual friend's party. Neutral ground, or so I thought. The venue pulsed with music, laughter masking undercurrents of drama. Mark cornered me on the balcony, city lights sprawling below like a glittering trap. "End this, Emma," he begged, breath reeking of whiskey. "I love you." Rage erupted. "You loved her more." Lena appeared, face pale. "Please," she whispered. In that moment, doubt peaked. Forgive or finish? Chose finish. "It's over," I said, voice steady. But as I turned, Victor emerged from shadows. "Wait, how?" "Not yet," he said, revealing a folder. Evidence of their embezzlement, ties to shady deals. He'd investigated, motivated by his own vendetta. Mark had ruined his brother financially years ago. Hidden motives unveiled. The twist hit like thunder. Victor handed it to authorities anonymously, but credited me. Poetic justice. Or entrapment. Mark and Lena face charges, lives imploding. But consequences rebounded. Friends shunned me, labeling me vengeful. Guilt overwhelmed, resolve cracking. In the end, revenge tasted like ash, a psychological scar. I walked away, hollow, the city's night enveloping me like that fateful Uber ride. Betrayal birthed a monster, and I was it.